Russian espionage in Mexico and migrant smugglers at the US border. The intriguing world of Russian espionage activities in Mexico has been a topic of concern for many years. These covert operations are not mere fictional tales of spy novels, but deeply rooted in historical and political realities. The complexity of these activities extends far beyond ordinary criminal activities, encompassing a broad range of clandestine operations aimed at influencing the political landscape of Mexico and the USA. The history of Russian spies in Mexico dates back to the Cold War era, when the two nations were embroiled in a tense political standoff. The Mexican government, like many others, was caught in the crossfire between the two superpowers, making it a prime target for Russian intelligence operations. Over the years, Russian spies have exploited the political, economic, and social vulnerabilities of Mexico to further their national interests. In recent years, Russia's covert operations in Mexico have gained new momentum. The current scenario is marked by a significant increase in Russian espionage activities, reflecting Moscow's growing interest in the region. These operations are not just aimed at gathering intelligence, but also at influencing the political and economic dynamics of Mexico. Russia's political interests in Mexico are manifold. The Kremlin views Mexico as a strategic partner in its global power play, particularly in its competition with the United States. By infiltrating the Mexican political system, Russia aims to gain leverage in its dealings with the US and other Western nations. This infiltration also serves to destabilize Mexico, thereby creating more opportunities for Russian influence. The techniques employed by Russian spies in Mexico are sophisticated and highly effective. These operatives rely on a variety of methods to infiltrate Mexican institutions, including the use of advanced technology, social engineering, and traditional espionage techniques. Their operations are often so stealthy that they go unnoticed until it is too late. Russian state-sponsored television stations such as Russia Today broadcast in Mexico, spreading disinformation talking points. The implications of these Russian spying activities on Mexico's national security are profound. As these spies gather classified information, they not only jeopardize the country's political stability but also potentially expose Mexico to foreign manipulations. These activities have led to increased surveillance and suspicion, creating an atmosphere of uncertainty and fear. In response to this threat, the Mexican authorities have implemented counter-espionage measures. This supposedly includes stricter border controls, enhanced surveillance, and thorough background checks on foreign nationals. Despite these efforts, the intricate web of Russian espionage continues to challenge law enforcement agencies. In an intriguing turn of events, there has been a connection established between Russian espionage and Russian-speaking migrant smugglers on the US southern border. These smugglers, often linked to organized crime syndicates, use their language and cultural understanding to exploit border vulnerabilities, further complicating the issue. Russia is yet another international connection for Mexican cartels. There have also been incidents of Mexican cartels purchasing or attempting to purchase weapons from Russian gangs. Additionally, Russian banks have laundered money for Mexican cartels, while Russian criminal gangs have been linked to cryptocurrency and dark web schemes to launder cartel money. In addition to allegations of working with the cartels, it is suspected that there are significant numbers of Russian spies in Mexico, taking advantage of the chaos caused by the cartels, in order to spy on the US. Human trafficking is a grave issue, and the involvement of Russian-speaking migrant smugglers has intensified the problem. These Russian crime gangs exploit the desperation of victims, promising them better lives before plunging them into a world of exploitation and abuse. Their operations are not just limited to human trafficking, they also play a significant role in drug trafficking, weapon smuggling, and other illegal activities. The strategies employed by Russian-speaking migrant smugglers are far from straightforward. These criminals are known for their resourcefulness and adaptability, using different routes and methods to evade law enforcement. They exploit the vulnerabilities of their victims, often using manipulation, threats, and violence to control them. They also rely heavily on corruption, using bribes to bypass checkpoints and borders effectively. The US southern border has been a focal point for Russian-speaking migrant smugglers. This is primarily due to the vast stretches of unpatrolled land, which provides an easy passage into the US. These smugglers exploit these vulnerabilities to smuggle people, drugs, and weapons, posing a significant threat to national security. The victims are often left in deplorable conditions, with many losing their lives during the perilous journey. Several case studies have highlighted the impact of Russian-speaking migrant smugglers on US border security. These cases reveal a grim reality of human suffering and exploitation. They also underscore the urgent need for improved border security and stronger countermeasures against migrant smuggling. The US government has taken several measures to counter the threat posed by Russian-speaking migrant smugglers. These include strengthening border security, improving surveillance and intelligence gathering, and increasing cooperation with international partners. Despite these efforts, the issue continues to persist, underscoring the need for a more comprehensive and coordinated approach to tackle this menace. General Glenn Van Herk, head of the US Northern Command, warned last year that there are more Russian military spies in Mexico than any other country in the world. Mexico has seen a 20% jump in Russian nationals entering the county in 2022 and 2023, most of them to Cancun, a tourism mecca full of Americans and Europeans, according to Mexico's government department. Many are Russian men fleeing the war, it said, but others are unspecified individuals and couples planning to give birth to anchor babies so they can apply for easily acquired Mexican immigration papers. That allows them to travel to the United States. The long arm of Russian intelligence services is believed to be behind the sudden jump of Russian nationals in Cancun. Other nations have uncovered Russian spies carrying Latin American identity papers from elsewhere. Estonia recently uncovered 3 Russian spies carrying Argentine passports. Last spring, Dutch authorities expelled a Russian spy posing as a Brazilian student. The connection between Russia's espionage activities and migrant smuggling operations can be traced back to their common objective: destabilizing adversaries. Russian intelligence agencies have allegedly utilized smuggling networks to infiltrate agents, gather information, and even carry out covert operations. The relationship between these activities is a strategic one, feeding into Russia's broader geopolitical ambitions. Add the fact Trumpist Republicans are using the surge of illegal immigration at the southern border of the US, as well as a surge of migrants seeking legal asylum, to threaten a government shutdown and no added funds for Ukraine makes this issue even more concerning. The implications of Russia's activities extend far beyond Mexico or the US. Globally, the effectiveness of these operations could embolden other nations to pursue similar tactics. This exacerbates global security concerns, increases tensions amongst nations, and potentially contributes to the global refugee crisis. Trump's desire to wield chaos at the border as a political weapon against President Joe Biden in a general election campaign is a factor in the ongoing congressional negotiations, with McConnell telling Republicans, "We don't want to do anything to undermine him." In the face of these daunting challenges, it's crucial to consider the future of Russian espionage and migrant smuggling activities. While countermeasures are continually being developed and implemented, the evolving tactics of these operations present a persistent threat. The international community must remain vigilant and collaborative to effectively combat these activities. Subscribe to Fire in the Minds, where curiosity burns bright. Welcome to the community of thinkers, dreamers, and seekers.